Hello, future people. Welcome to Getting Tabled. I'm Jason the Bruce, and today we're going to have a look at the sexiest of the Bakemono. It's time for Yami'Mure. So, for those of you into your Bushido trying to figure out which one is Yami'Mure, he's the one that's spewing up the egg. Hence the comment. This is one of two characters that I think's really changed the way that the Bakemono can play. Well, not so much changed how they can play, but it's really leaned into it, and it's really made that play style very viable. And I don't think it's much of a surprise that they tend to be a faction that people are leaning into a little bit at the moment. Not that I had this impression when we were doing this series that most Savage Wave players played the Oni, but apparently that's not the case. And I learnt that after that episode went live. But I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this. Let's get down onto the table. All right, so here we are with the Yami'Mure. We're going to start with the card. The series is out there if you would like to see our full breakdown of the faction itself. All right, so Yami'Mure, he'll cost you 13 rice. He has 2 in melee. He can boost it for 3. He has 2 ranged that he won't be using. He can move 4. He's got 4 wounds. He can generate 1 key, all of which goes into the Bakemono pool. He's unarmed, -1 strength modifier. He's got camouflage 4 inches, cowardly, and tiny. These two in particular, you'll find are very common inside the Bakemono. Camouflage as well. He has 1 key ability called Multitudes. So Multitudes will cost you 3 key. It's a simple action, and it's personable, so it can only affect him. Until the end phase, if this model is killed, replace it by summoning and deploying an available, non-unique, non-Rincho Horde Bakemono with one wound unmarked. Then summon and deploy an available, non-unique, non-Rincho Horde Bakemono in base-to-base with that model with one wound box unmarked. So, when this model is killed, replace him with 2. But they only have one wound unmarked. I'm not going to complain about that. All right. Comes on a 30mm base. All right. First things first, look at the body. So his body appears to have his bottom jaw, I think. No, it's just a place for him. It's part of his neck. Okay, that's fine. He's already taken a couple of arrows. Is that an arrow? Yep. So they look like they could be gates, but they're not. They are supposed to be arrows. If you wanted to remove them, you probably could. You'd probably need to green stuff over what is very clearly wounds, though. Especially that one. I mean, that's nasty. I really like this model. I mean, there's been pictures of it online and so forth, and this model has been out for a little bit, but the detail on this model is much better than I was expecting it to be. And here we go with the head and the egg. So this is actually 2 pieces. That surprises me. I wasn't really sure how much work you was going to have to put into this, but this is all together in one piece. That's going to make things a lot easier. That is just a gate. And now this will sit somewhere in here. There you go. Fits on quite well. So yeah, it's the neck that's sculpted in. There is a little bit of a gap there, nothing too major. You'd probably I don't even know if you'd really need to, because it kind of looks like it's just a fold. I don't know if you'd really need to do much there, honestly. Some people will want to, just out of habit. I honestly don't think you'll really need to pin this either. It's not overly heavy, the piece, and it fits in there quite easily. So I think you should be okay on that front. And then last but not least, we have his other arm, where he's quite literally pulling an arrow out of himself. Personally, I'd probably have it something along those lines. It is slightly bent for me the way that it has arrived, so that will need to be fixed. That is a gate, which will come off. I do need to trim just a little bit off. That's not going to be too bad. But because of the way that this is designed, for me, it kind of feels like it's supposed to be there, but you could pretty much pose this however you wanted. You just don't want it looking like he's pulling his arm out of the socket by doing it. But that to me feels right because it kind of fits in with the bulge there in his clothing. So yeah, that's Yami'Mure. Actually, really gross. I really like this guy. And as you can see, he's spitting out 2 eggs, which are the ones that will replace him when he passes. I really like this guy. All right. And here we have the final mini. So this has all been built up and primed. I've done my best to be able to show off as much detail as you can. Probably the biggest thing, I mean, you can see the gap between the head and the neck there, but truth be told, unless you're really looking for it, like in all honesty, I really don't feel like you need to green stuff this. I know some people get a little bit more picky about that sort of thing than I do, and that's perfectly fine. They are your minis after all. The arm as well actually comes off quite nicely. After filming the video that you've just seen, I actually went back to have a look at the picture to see where it's supposed to go. And there's actually a little gap in the body that I hadn't noticed where the visible part of the arrowhead actually sits. All in all, I love this mini. This is absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to getting this painted up. I do intend to having mine trying to look like as gross as I can, just because why wouldn't I? But really, really nicely done by GCT here. Really nice. So there we go. That's Yami'Mure for the Bakemono. This is definitely someone that if you want to be playing the Bakemono, this is definitely somebody you need to be buying. He definitely needs to be someone that you have the ability to field because he's somebody that can really, really help bump up those numbers. The Bakemono, generally speaking, are a faction when you're trying to summon more of your hordes. They don't have the strength and the attacks of the other players, of the other factions. They very much rely on the numbers game. And it can be somewhat glass cannony. And for those of you that were following the series that Brother Bear and I did, there will be more videos coming. Our next series of videos will be coming very soon, and we will be covering the special abilities. You've made it through to the end of another video. Your next mission is to hit subscribe and comment down below. If you'd like to reach out to the team, consider doing that, gettingtabled@gmail.com. Consider subscribing to our Patreon. For only $2 a month, you get early access to almost every single video that we do. Our most active social media is facebook.com/gettingtabled. It's where you'll find everything first. There's also a Discord. There's an invite on screen right now. If you type that in, it'll give you instant access. If you're on Twitter or Instagram, you can find us at gettingtabled. It's not the most active, but it's something we're trying to use more all the time. Come and check out Jason the Bruce at Twitch. He does both video game and hobby content. And of course, without question, play more games.